Hey there, Trulieve traders and investors. This is Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. In this video, going to dive into the stock Trulieve. We were down 40% in the last month, and we're going to be discussing where is the potential bottom. We know that $8 was the all-time low and the low of March of 2020 after the C19 dump. Going to give some thoughts and opinions, my thoughts and opinions on the stock and what to expect, and we'll do some technical analysis in the days and weeks ahead and what we can anticipate in terms of price action. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. I did a video, it was quite a while ago, it was back on May 8th. I said fundamentals do not matter yet, keyword being yet, and this is exactly what I was talking about. I know a lot of people, the MSO maximalists, MSO gang, they've been saying that, Canadian LPs are garbage, they're not worth owning. Personally, I think that's a bit naive and short-sighted. I think there's going to be winners and losers both sides of the border. We know that Molson Coors is partnered with a Canadian LP. We know that Constellation Brands, the maker of Corona Beer, is partnered with a Canadian company. We know British American Tobacco, another Canadian company partnership, Altria, big in the tobacco space. So again, I think there's going to be winners and losers in Canada, the US, and abroad, right, in other international markets as well. And again, while the industry is nascent, it's going to matter less and less, these fundamentals. It doesn't matter if a company is profitable. It doesn't matter if they're non-profitable right now, because the whole sector moves together. It moves in tandem, and that is because it's a nascent industry. It's a new, emerging, burgeoning industry. And just take a look at Trulieve over the last month, right? From the high here to the low, we're down almost 40%. And again, I was shouting from the rooftop saying that, a lot of people were saying, I told you so. Canadian MJ is not worth owning. It's garbage. Look at US MJ, it's holding up much better. And I said, well, don't get too cocky, because we're likely going to follow suit. We're likely going to see the American operators play as laggards, in this case to the downside. And that's exactly what we had happening. And we do have earnings coming up for Trulieve. We'll just take a quick look at it here. It's tentative for November 14th. We'll want to see official confirmation, as always, from the company, but they're forecasting 320.95 million, a slight decrease from the prior quarter, and EPS is forecasted at negative 0.0093. But I've been saying this for a while now too. A lot of people are asking me, when's the next earnings report for XYZ company in the MJ space? It really doesn't matter, in my opinion. Again, fundamentals don't really matter right now, especially in a bear market, especially in a nascent industry where everything's tracking each other. It moves together. The whole market moves together, not down to the second, the minute, the day, the week. But overall, the market trends higher and trends lower together in a bear market and a bull market. And I don't think we need to focus on earnings reports for individual companies in the MJ space, because it's not going to matter until we have a sector-wide catalyst. It's not just American operators, it's not just Canadian producers, it's retailers, it's ETFs. Everything is, the common theme right now is in a monthly, weekly, and daily downtrend. That's i.e. bear market. And also the fact that we know that every single from every vertical, right, from seed to sale, retailers, everything is struggling. And we know that we need a sector-wide catalyst that's going to lift us out of that rut. And until that happens, we're in a bear market. Everything's trending to all-time lows or hitting new all-time lows. That's the common theme right now in MJ. And it's going to be a while before we get out of this rut. And in my opinion, I did a few different videos on U.S. legalization. You can check out the video with Morgan Fox, the political director at Normal. They're a nonprofit that lobbies the U.S. government, and he talks about his views on safe banking passing before the end of the year. He thinks it's a very high chance. And I also just did a video on what legalization in the U.S., the rollout of that is going to look like. So you can check that out. But I think we're going to start with safe banking and then potential uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. That's what we need, in my opinion. We don't need, there's talks about the MJ Act being reviewed in Canada. I don't think that's going to matter. We need something that's going to affect the whole sector. And what's going to affect the whole sector is safe banking and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. That's going to create, and we know that the US is the most important market in the world. So that is going to, and when they do something, the whole world pays attention. So when that happens, it's going to rise, all boats are going to rise together. If something happens in Canada, that'll be good for Canadian LPs, but I don't think that's going to be that catalyst that we need to lift the whole entire sector. So you can check out that video, but essentially, I do think that we need safe banking and that potential uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. That's going to lift us out of this rut that we're in. But until that happens, until we have that sector-wide catalyst, we can expect more of the same. But you can see here we lost the weekly uptrend on Trulieve. We had a low, high, higher low, and higher high. But what have I been saying? We've done this before. We've been there and we've done this, but we never actually closed above EMA 26, that white line. You can see it's been a brick wall. resistance, 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 and then straight into a loss of the weekly uptrend. But what have I been saying? We need to confirm monthly uptrends. And then back here on November, we had a lower high. And then once we lost it here in the month of January 2022, we confirmed the monthly downtrend. So we had the high, low, lower high, and lower low. So once we lost 29.57 support here in the month of January of this year, that's when we confirmed the monthly downtrend. And then from there, we just know that anything under that is potential lower high on the monthly time frame. So anything under 43.75 was a potential lower high, and it was actually a monthly bear flag that's confirming. And the next support on the monthly, we have nothing until $8.10, which is the low of March 2020 after the C19 dump. So that is the next support in play. And if we take a look at how far we are away from that support, we're only about 33% away. And I do think that the S&P 500, I did a video today. You can go check that out. Essentially, it was a market update, but I do think that the S&P 500 is going to struggle massively over the next month or so. We're going to potentially target the 330s, the previous all-time high on S&P 500, confirm old resistance as new support, classical technical analysis theory, and then that would also line up for a bottom somewhere around the November 8th elections. I think we're going to, between now and then, we're going to have a lot more pain to come. We're going to set a bottom around that time. We know that the pound is getting absolutely destroyed, fiat currencies around the world, so I think that governments around the world and also the US is going to be inclined to pause rate hikes because of the recession fears, because of the destruction in some of the fiat currencies. The dollar has been very strong compared to the 6, DXY, but that's just a comparison to 6 other basket of currencies. But I do think that we're going to potentially see a massive sell-off on the S&P 500, maybe another 10 to 15% of downside, set a bottom around the 330s, the 320s, the previous all-time high before the C19 dump, and then after the midterm elections, we have the FOMC rate decision. And I think we're either going to see 25 basis points or they might even pause it altogether. And that's going to create a face ripper of a rally, in my opinion, in the market. But if the S&P 500 is due for another 5, 10, maybe even 15, I think realistic 10% is realistic, but maybe as much as 15% on the S&P 500, that means that Trulieve could easily fall that 20 to 30%, which would bring us down to that $8. Full disclosure, I don't own any Trulieve. I own it indirectly through MSOS, the ETF, but I don't own any directly. But I am scouting an entry, and I'm going to be looking at potentially adding closer to $10 or a loss thereof. And this is why I'm so grateful that I learned the patience of MJ and what crypto has taught me, the two most volatile, riskiest asset classes on the planet. It taught me not to FOMO in. And now we had the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on here as well, and we got that out of the way. And like I said, going to be starting to scale in here closer to $10. May even look to enter. I do think that we're going to start to see more weakness in the market toward the end of the week in the broader market. That'll translate into weakness for MJ, in my opinion. And then I'm going to start to look to scale in, maybe even as early as over the next 1 to 2 days into Trulieve. And just going to be starting slow and going to be adding, accumulating phase, and going to be looking to add probably 4 to 5 positions, and going to be looking to get my average down to around $10, maybe even below $10. And again, that's why patience is a virtue, and I've been reluctant to add to this because we had that monster rally and we had no support on the monthly all the way down to $8. And what I've been saying, when you have no support, when you go a whole year with no monthly consolidation, you need to expect a massive move to the downside. If you have an aggressive move to the upside, it usually gets met with an aggressive move to the downside, and that's exactly what happened. We gave up the whole thing. And tons of people were commenting on my videos saying, MSOs are the only thing worth owning. I don't hear anything anymore. It's crickets, right? And again, it's not that I want to say I told you so, even though people were trying to say they told me so. It's not that I'm trying to tell you I told you so. It's the fact that I warned that this could happen and people just neglected it. They didn't want to hear it. I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And now I'm telling you that Trulieve is getting interesting for a potential buy and heading to that monthly oversold territory. And again, Tilray from February 2021 highs is now down 96%. For comparison, Trulieve from that same time period is only down 82% essentially. And again, Trulieve potentially hitting its all-time low, and Tilray not too far off as well, 243. So it's only about 8 to 10% away from its all-time low. And this is the common theme. A lot of names in MJ are setting new all-time lows. So if Trulieve is going to its all-time low, I think we can potentially scout a bottom around that $8, maybe $6 or $7. But I'll be a heavy buyer of Trulieve around those levels. I do like Curaleaf and CL and GTII as well. I like CL and Cura probably the most out of the US MSOs, but that's my plan. And if we take a look at the Trulieve chart here, we're not looking good at all on the 10-week moving average. We're well below it. The stochastic and the MACD are seeing bear crosses, so in terms of the macro indicators, not looking good whatsoever. In terms of the weekly moving averages, we're nowhere nearby until 2390, so we don't have any support there as well. We could very well enter free fall here on Trulieve, and like I said, expect another anywhere from 20 to 30% of downside. And even the daily MACD is extremely bearish. So not a whole lot of positive signals to report here on Trulieve. But again, this is kind of the nature of the beast. We need to expect the worst, hope for the best. But at the moment, we're in an accumulation phase. The great thing about a bear market is a bull market is just around the corner, and you can't get life-changing opportunity and life-changing gains and wealth generation without these absurdly low prices. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. But if you could smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you think I earned it here today, share the video with anybody that might find value. I would appreciate it very much. It's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.